Hi, everyone. So, October is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. And I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that in this video and the importance of it as somebody who's gone through a journey of infertility and had multiple miscarriages. This month is really, really close to my heart. And I wanted to touch on a really important concept for anyone who's going through the journey of infertility or pregnancy loss, or people who are supporting those folks. A really important concept for everybody, in my opinion, which is disenfranchised grief. So, pregnancy, infertility, and infant loss, in my opinion, falls under this umbrella of what we call disenfranchised grief, which is a really specific, painful kind of grieving and form of grief, in that it's a form of grief that society doesn't sort of like universally recognize. It doesn't fit into society's larger narrative of what should be grieved or what grieving really is. So examples of disenfranchised grief are miscarriage, the loss of maybe the connection to a loved one who's struggling with dementia. There's also, I think, a really pertinent form of disenfranchised grief is termination for medical reasons. So there's just, there's an endless list of that would fall under it, but it's just a concept that I think is so, so important to understand. And if you're the person supporting somebody who's going through a miscarriage or pregnancy loss, just knowing that it is that disenfranchised grief. It's not. Other grieving is what I refer to as Tupperware grief, that if you're going through kind of a more societally recognized loss, people show up with Tupperware dinners. At least initially, people show up and they care and they offer words, condolences and things like that. And a lot of times with miscarriage and pregnancy loss, that's not so much the case. There's no Tupperware dinners. Sometimes people weren't even aware that you were pregnant in the first place. So it's a really lonely feeling when it feels almost like society turns away from you in that time. So, in my opinion, the most important thing, if you do have someone in your life who's going through this, is to show up and say something, even if it's clumsy. Even if you start out with, I don't know that I have the right words, but I just want you to know that I love you so much. And I'm so sorry that you're going through this. That in and of itself is very different than what a lot of the rest of society will do. And that is healing and so important. And I think when in doubt, say something, like move towards the person and say, if you don't want to talk right now, that's okay. If you never want to talk, that's okay. But just know that I love you so much. And I'm just so incredibly sorry for your loss and that you're going through it. And that is a step towards helping that person move away from disenfranchised grief and grief that they're able to process in a meaningful way.